Hey peeps, what's going on everybody? It's Sam from CancerMoonsTarot and welcome on into your June 2022 Book of Answers check-in. How are you guys? I hope you guys are well. For those of you, I'm pretty sure most of you by now know how this series works, but I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Basically, this is a book of answers. It has answers inside of it. The main point of this book was to answer people's questions, but I like to use this in a format of basically giving you intuitive messages. So any kind of answer that I come towards, like this answer says act as though it's already real, I like to look at this more as an intuitive message rather than an answer itself. So I will be going from Aries to Pisces. If you want to skip to your sign, timestamps are in the comments section and the description below. You can skip on right to your sign for the month, and we're going to take a look and see what messages we got here for you. So starting out here with the lovely zodiac sign of Aries, let's see what we got going on, baby. All right, what information can we provide here for Aries, please, moving throughout the month of June 2022? Taking a look at the first message we have here: to ensure the best decision, be calm. So you could be involved in a situation jumping into mid-June or just jumping into June overall where you feel that it's very difficult to keep yourself calm. There could be something that's frustrating you, something that's stressing you out, something that's bringing you to a level where it's really hard to think. You know, typically when we're incredibly overwhelmed, when we're flustered, when we have a lot going on, it's not easy to make the best decisions or the right decisions. Sometimes they could be really impulsive, they could be really irrational. So it does seem to me like your guides are trying to say, coming into this month, if you feel that you are overwhelmed, if you feel that you are flustered, if there's a lot going on and a lot kind of hitting you at once, when it comes towards having to make certain decisions, the best decisions you're going to make is when you're calm, when you're collected, and when you're thinking things through. So don't do anything out of impulse is what I'm feeling guided to tell you. And definitely when you're feeling flustered, when you're feeling overwhelmed, don't be afraid to take breaks this month, because when you're not in the right energy, you're not going to be making the right decisions. So coming into June 2022, to ensure the best decision, make sure that you're in a calm place. Make sure that you are relieved from stress, relieved from anxieties, and any sort of overwhelmingness energy, and try to take a step back, relax yourself, and then you can kind of come up with whatever will be the best decision that you need to make based upon whatever situation you're currently encountering, okay? Moving on here to the next message for you. We have here, speak up about it. Oh, okay. So I definitely feel here too that you're being called to speak up about how it is that you're feeling here, Aries, especially for those of you that are very flustered or very overwhelmed within your workspace. Let's say you work for a job, maybe you're understaffed in the month of June, maybe your boss is just kind of giving you way too much to do with very little time to get things done. Don't be afraid to speak up about how you're feeling, especially if you're incredibly overwhelmed. If you need a break, if you need more help, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for assistance, okay? Is what I feel like I'm being guided to tell you. Because when you take on the world, you know, all at once, you're not going to be feeling the most balanced to be able to accomplish that. Remember, nobody can take on the world all at once, and we all need to be able to be in the right space to accomplish what we're trying to do. So please don't feel like you have to take on everything all at once. You can speak up about it. You can ask for help. You can call upon other people. And remember, if you're going to make the best decisions that are going to work out for you, it's going to come from a place of calmness, of collectedness. It's not going to come out of a place where you feel very overwhelmed. So do make sure to do your best to calm yourself. And one of the best ways that's probably going to help you be more calm is about speaking up about how overwhelmed you may be feeling or how stressed out you may be feeling. Once again, kind of referencing, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help at this time, okay? All right, Aries, that's what we got here for you. We're going to go ahead and jump right now onto the Taurus, okay? Let's see what we got going on, baby. All right, what do we got going on here for Taurus, please? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus regarding their June 2022. Let's have a look. First message out is you are too close to see. Oh yeah, so you are very, very close to something right now, to the point where something is blinding you, right? For example, if we get too close to the sun and we look at the sun, it's not really visible anymore. It's more like a blinding motherfucker, right? So at the end of the day, I do feel like this could be referencing that something is blinding you at this time. Love could be blinding you. Lust could be blinding you, deception could be blinding you. You know, it's this energy where you're so close to something that maybe you're not seeing beyond what you want to see. So it feels to me like the universe, or your guides per se, is trying to say, remove the rose tinted glasses. You know, look at a situation with like every kind of perspective that you can. Don't look at it in a very linear mindset here coming into the month of June. You know, this could be about maybe people in your life are pointing out that they notice something with your romantic partner that maybe you're not picking up on. Maybe some of your friends aren't very fond of another friend, and because you're super close to that friend, it's like, I don't want to listen to what other people are saying about this person because the way I see them is completely different. So it feels to me like you're being called to open up to different types of perceptions and perspectives, especially if other people are pointing it out for you here coming into the month of June. You know, sometimes when you're very invested in something, when you're very close to something, it can be incredibly hard to see clearly or to see it in a different way. So don't be afraid to look at something from a complete big picture type of perspective to see whatever else is there, all right? Moving on to the next message for you, Taurus. What do we have? Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus through June. We have here the circumstances could change very quickly. So it does feel to me that the moment you kind of look at something for what it is instead of how you're currently just viewing it, because there's always going to be more to the picture, right? For example, if you are looking at a photograph and you're looking at it right in front of your face, you're probably going to see a couple of things, but you're not going to see the full picture. If you were to put that photograph at a distance from you, you'd get to see the whole thing in frame. That's pretty much how this situation is describing itself. You know, if you're dealing with a lover, if you're dealing with a friend, and you are so used to looking at them in this one perspective and one perspective only, but other people are noticing it, that there's something different you're not seeing, take a step back so you can look at the big picture, so you can look at all that there is to see. Because maybe there's something you've missed. Maybe you've been so close that it's been incredibly hard to see the full picture this entire time. And with the circumstances could change very quickly, I feel like what that means is that maybe when you do see the big picture, you might actually notice that there's something about that picture that's off, and maybe that needs to be addressed here coming into the month of June. So I would definitely say, don't be afraid to take a step back and look at something from every angle you could see it, whether that be your work life, whether that be your love life, whether that be particular people in your life, whether other people in your life are telling you things about somebody you're relatively close to. Make sure you see the big picture is essentially the message I'm being called to tell you, because the circumstances could change very quickly. You could actually look at the big picture now and recognize, wait, there's a lot about this picture I don't like, or there's more about this picture that I like. You never know. It can kind of go either way. So look at something in its entirety so that you can get the vibe, to understand how you feel about it, about what you want to do going forward. And if other people are pointing things out to you, at least you'll be able to understand where they're coming from too, you know? So don't be too close up to something. Take a step back and look at the big picture, okay? All right, Taurus, let's keep it popping, pushing, and moving forward. So jumping on now to the Gemini, let's go ahead and have a look, baby. What do we got going on here for Gemini, please? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus throughout June 2022. We have here Laugh About It. Oh, yeah. Definitely one of those moments seem to be occurring here in the month of June where something happens and maybe you're kind of caught up in your head about it and you're like, whoa, this is insane. I can't believe this happened. But like other people aren't really so caught up in their head about it either. It's like you feel like this situation is very big and other people are looking at the situation and they forgot about it already. I think that seems to be the energy for you. So I feel like you're being called to laugh about something. Maybe you have an embarrassing situation come up. Maybe something awkward happens. Maybe something happens in general and you're just really overthinking it and other people are not seeing that in the same factor. Like you may be overthinking it. Other people are like, I already forgot about it, Gemini. So you're being called to like laugh something off, you know? Don't overthink something to the point where you are so in your head about a situation, especially when other people don't see it in the same manner. All right. So don't be afraid to laugh it out. Don't be afraid to laugh about something, you know, whether you did something embarrassing, whether you had an awkward encounter and you're cringing at it. Because trust me, I have many moments in my life where I look back and I cringe at myself and I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I wear that? You know, I have all those moments in my life too, but sometimes you got to laugh them off and just say, yeah, that was a weird experience, or yeah, that was awkward, but oh well, you know, don't let that be what's on your mind and, you know, get super wrapped up in something, because I feel like other people really just don't care, and they probably forgot about it already. So that's the best message that I can deliver there for you in reference to the laugh about it. But let's see what else we have here for you. What else do we have here for Gemini? And we do have here, don't hesitate. Cool. So I do see a different message jumping up here for you for your month of June. We have the message that mentions don't hesitate. This is essentially saying, hey, if you're going to do something, do it 110%. Don't hold yourself back. Go right into it. So this is about eliminating fear. Not having fear block you, not having hesitancy come into play. If there's something you want, go for it. Don't hold back at all. So if you've been interested recently in starting your own business this month, don't hesitate. What are you waiting for? Go get that business started. If you've been hesitating about telling somebody how you feel, speak up, open up about it. Don't worry. Say your piece and say what needs to be said, right? So whatever you're feeling very hesitant about here, jumping into June 2022, you're being told to just jump right into it anyways. Because when you become a person of action, not only do you get answers, but you make things happen. When you continuously hesitate, everything starts to get delayed until you make a move. So I do feel here that you're being called not to hesitate, but instead to jump on into something. Now I will say, for example, let's say that this is you being very hesitant of telling somebody how you feel, or maybe you're hesitant about speaking, public speaking. Maybe some of you guys are doing a public speech or something amongst that nature. You know, the best thing that you guys can do is count down from 5. And after you get to 5, right, you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The moment you get to 1, do it. Because when you give your brain a countdown and you jump right into something, it eliminates the fear. I don't know who said this. I believe it was Mel Robbins who had the 5-second rule. I think that's what she talked about personally, but I've embodied that into my life because I used to be a person who was very hesitant. I used to be a person who would get so anxious before having to do something that I would talk myself out of doing it, you know? Actually, that used to happen with me when I would go live on YouTube, right? I would get so anxious to go live that I would talk myself out of going live because I was so anxious. And then I came to the conclusion of, with this 5-second rule, it's actually super duper beneficial. I would count down from 5. I got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom, I would jump right on into it. And that anxiety, that energy of being overwhelmed, that fear, it dissipated because I gave myself my countdown. I committed to what it was that I was doing, and I dove right into it, and instantaneously I felt relief. So I will say, super awesome rule to apply to your daily life. If you're staring fear in the eyes, count down from 5 and just do it, and that fear is going to dissipate, baby, okay? All right, Gemini, let's keep it popping, pushing, and moving forward. All right, now jumping on into our Cancers. Let's see what we got going on, baby. What messages do we have here for Cancer? Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus throughout the month of June here, 2022. The first one that we have here, Cancer, is you'll need to consider other ways. So the way about going about a specific situation seems to be incredibly different than the current way that you're doing it. If something's not working, don't ever be afraid to try a different route or to try a different path. You know, this is something that I definitely had to learn, especially being a Cancer sun myself, because I can be very stubborn. If I want something to work, I will try it the same way a million times until I recognize, okay, Aunt, this way's not gonna work. You gotta do something different. So I know that I can get caught up in that energy oftenly. Maybe some of you guys could relate. So I do feel like jumping into June 2022, don't be afraid to consider other types of ways of doing things, because maybe by doing something in a different way, it could be rather refreshing, and it could actually probably guide you to whatever goal you want to complete in a much faster way than you're currently going, or whatever current route you're taking. So don't be afraid to consider a different route or a different path of how to achieve something, because different types of ways could provide the same result. You know, you can still get to the end of what you want, but maybe doing it in a different way could actually work out better for you, okay? So do keep that in mind. Moving on to the next message for you. What is going to be the next message here for Cancer? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and we do have here, speak up about it. So Cancers, don't be afraid here to speak your truth, especially if something is frustrating you this month or if something is bothering you. As a Cancer myself, I can be very non-confrontational, and I notice that the times that I'm non-confrontational, it never really works in my favor. So I had to learn personally how to speak up about how I'm feeling, what I want, what I deserve, because if I didn't, a lot of people would treat me like a doormat, and unfortunately they would walk all over me. And throughout my journey in life, I recognized that if I didn't speak up for myself, unfortunately I'd be taken advantage of. So Cancerians, coming into your month here, because it is going to be Cancer season, of course it's Gemini season, but transfers on my birthday the 22nd into Cancerian. So you know, your birthday's coming soon, baby. Your season's coming soon. Tap into that energy. Don't go into the crab shell. Be ready to come on out of that crab shell and speak up about whatever it is you need to say. Okay? So what I will say is if something's not working, don't be afraid to speak up to that. You know, for example, maybe something's not working within a partnership you're dealing with, you know? Don't keep trying to do something the same way if it's not working at all within that partnership. You know, tell your partner, hey, this isn't working, and we got to do something different. We got to try something different. Maybe something isn't working at your job. Don't be afraid to tell your boss, hey, look, I'm sorry. This thing that I'm doing right now at my job ain't working for me. I need to do a different way in order to get that result that you're looking for. So don't be afraid to change course to get to to get to the same goal, right? right? Don't be afraid to do something in a different manner. And also coming into June 2022, don't be afraid to speak up, because remember, when you don't speak up, things will not go in your favor. You have to be willing to talk and communicate and to express how you're feeling to get to the result you're looking for. All right? All right, Cancerian, let's keep it popping, pushing, and moving forward. So, diving on in now to the Leo. Let's go ahead and have ourselves a look. What do we got here for Leo? Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus throughout June 2022. Let's take a look. We do got here, be delightfully sure of it. Okay, so Leo, it's time to be completely sure about a situation, delightfully sure specifically here, until you really... to make sure like it's something you really, really want to invest into, okay? So I feel like you're being called to make sure that you're really sure about something before you put your energy into it. You know, sometimes we could just wing something. Other times we could kind of impulsively dive into a situation. You know, sometimes we don't entirely really think out the ramifications of how something could play out. So it does feel to me like think really like twice before you do something here, Leo. Be 100% sure of what you want before you go after it, okay? Is what you're being called to do here for your June. Moving on to the next card for you. Let's go ahead and take a look. The next card, the next message for you. What's going to be the next message? And we have here, reconsider your approach. Yeah, so Leos, I feel like this is already kind of showing up that you're not entirely sure about something. So this is probably you having some doubts jumping into the month of June. You know, you might be having doubts about proposing to somebody. You could be having doubts about a relationship you're in, doubts about your job, doubts about your friends, doubts about anything. And if you are doubting something and you're not 100% sure, maybe that indication of doubt is probably telling you that maybe you should reconsider your approach on how you're handling this, or if you even want what it is you're going towards or working towards in the first place. You know, the reason why doubts tend to manifest is because we're not necessarily sure if that's what we want or if we could achieve something. So when doubts come into play, that is usually an indication that, hey, something's up over here. So explore that feeling coming into the month of June. You know, if you're starting to have doubts about your relationship, address those. If you're starting to have doubts about your work and your working position, address those as well. Don't be afraid here to address why you're doubting a situation, because that's going to lead you to uncover answers on whether or not you're 100% sure if you want to go forward with what it is that you're doing. So don't be afraid here, Leo, to reconsider your approach on what you're doing right now. If you're having doubts about something and you're not sure and maybe you want to go in a different direction instead, it's okay to do that. It's okay to not continue to commit to something that you're not sure if you're going to be happy with in the long term. So if you need to take a step back and kind of reconsider your approach, reconsider your options, and see what works for you, do not be afraid to do that here jumping into the month of June, because you don't want to commit to something that you know you're not really sure if it's going to work out, you know, in the end or in the long term, so on and so forth. So really take some time here to think, all right? Don't dive into something until you feel like you're 100% sure and 100% ready that that's what you want moving forward, okay? All right, Leo, let's keep it popping, pushing, and moving forward. We're now going to go ahead and jump on into our Virgo, baby. What do we got going on? Messages for Virgo here, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus throughout June 2022. We do have here, enjoy the experience. And I actually love seeing this message for you because this is about getting down to being present, right? Focusing on the present moment, enjoying the experience, not overthinking, not worrying, not having any sort of second thoughts about a situation. It's just take a step back, jump and immerse yourself into the present moment and enjoy the experience that you're having. So you're being called here to be present coming into this month and to enjoy whatever experience you're having here. Moving on to the next message for Virgo, we do also have here, it is uncertain. So that is very true, right? All the experiences that we have are incredibly uncertain. We do not know if these experiences are going to last forever, if these experiences are going to last 5 days, if they're going to last 5 months, right? So you could be in a position of time right now where you're dating somebody and you're uncertain of the future that you're going to have with them. You know, maybe you're unsure about the future in reference to your work or in reference to your own personal life. I mean, uncertainty is all written throughout humanity. You know, no matter how many psychics you contact or psychics you see, you know, we can't always be 100% certain of what our future is going to be, right? We can make one small change in our path and it can drive us to a completely different path in a matter of seconds. We can switch the course super quick. So do keep that in mind. Sometimes it's okay to not worry about your future. Sometimes it's actually better to not worry about your future and to just be present and enjoy the experience of what you're dealing with right now. If you're in a relationship and you are uncertain if this is the person you're going to marry, who fucking knows if they're going to be the person you're going to marry? You find that shit out later on in life. Figure it out as you go. I mean, if you're having a great time with that person right now, enjoy the experience and quit worrying too much about the future. You know, if you are starting up a business right now and things are going well, who knows if your company is going to thrive for 10 to 15 years or 30, 40 years? Who knows that? But if things are going well right now, enjoy the experience nonetheless. Remember, they call it the present moment because it's a gift. If you are enjoying something right now that you have in front of you, the more that you start to overthink about the future, the more that you start to fear, the more that you're escaping the wonderful experience you're having right in front of you. So let yourself enjoy what you got going on, because it could leave tomorrow, it could stay for 20 years. But hey, if it's going well, sit back, relax, and enjoy it, baby. All right, Virgo, let's keep it popping, pushing, and moving forward. All right, we finished up our Virgo. Now moving on to our Libra. Let's see what we got going on, baby. What messages do we got coming in here for Libra? Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus throughout June 2022. Let's go ahead and take a look. We got here, take a chance, baby. Oh yeah, it's time to take a gamble, it's time to take a chance, it's time to take a leap of faith, Libra, moving into your June 2022. This is essentially embodying the full energy in the tarot. Don't be afraid to venture into the unknown. Don't be afraid to not know what's going to happen on the other side. Take a chance and see what happens. Take a chance and roll with it. This could be about taking a chance in your love life, taking your chance in your work, in your career. It's like if you don't take chances, you're not going to know what is ever going to come of whatever it is, right? For example, if you do not take a chance on starting your business, you're never going to know if it's going to be successful or not. If you don't take a chance on starting that relationship or texting that person or asking that person out on a date, like you're never going to know if you could have had a relationship with them, right? So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take is essentially the vibe over here, and you got to be willing to shoot your shot just to see where things can go, because sometimes it really does work out, and of course sometimes it doesn't work out as well, but you'll never know unless you actually try. I rather have the comfort and clarity of knowing that something wasn't going to work out because I took my shot, rather than constantly wondering if it ever would have, you know? At least I have my answer, right? Moving on to the next message that we have here for you regarding your June. What is going to be the next message here for Libra, please? And we have here, take your time. Yeah. So not only take a chance on a situation, but take your time with the situation too. We always hear that saying that life is short. And granted, of course it is, in comparison to how long life really could be. But at the end of all this, it is a kind of long time, you know? 365 days in a year. And, you know, everybody here that's watching, I guarantee you're relatively young. Don't tell me 50 and 60 is old, because you're still young, okay? Because I know I do have some people who are around 50 and 60 who watch me. And baby, you are still young, right? You still have a lot of time left in this game we call life. All right, so with all that being said, take your time. I think that a lot of times in life, we like to rush the process. You know, if we take a chance on something and it doesn't grow immediately or it doesn't grow fast, we start to feel like that chance maybe wasn't worth it, or that risk maybe wasn't worth it. But you have to give things time in order to see longevity. You know, for example, for a person who is trying to grow their financial situation, that's not something that's going to happen overnight. You know, there are people who work for minimum wage day in and day out, 7 days a week, 40 hours a week, and they put aside everything they can for years and years and years and years to have that financial stability. And granted, it's rough, granted, it's hard, they can still take their time to build that financial stability that they wanted. And at the end of all of that, you know, if they were to just say, hey, I got 2 checks and I've only put aside $350 and I'm just going to give up on this whole working thing, you know, they would have wasted their time on taking a chance on something. So remember, longevity requires lots of time, lots of dedication in order to see the growth that you want. And if you have to take a chance on something, or in general, you have to take a chance on something if you want to see any chance of it working out for you. So let's say you want to start that small business. Hey, it's not going to grow overnight. Take your time with that business. Learn about it. Learn how to market yourself. Learn how to advertise. Learn what types of products you want to sell, what consumers are looking for. If you're interested in taking a chance on a person, learn about that person, get to know them, take them out on dates, ask them out, see how they feel about you. Give it time to see if you're compatible with them, right? Don't just rush into a relationship if they're interested in you and you're interested in them. So with all this being said, coming into the month of June, don't be afraid to take a chance because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but most importantly, take your time. If you want longevity, if you want long-term success, you have to be willing to make those long-term investments, okay? All right, my Libras, let's keep it popping, pushing, and moving forwards. All right, we finished up our Libra, going on to our Scorpio now. Let's see what we got going on, baby. What messages do we got coming in here for Scorpio? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus throughout June 2022. And let's go ahead and take a look. We have here, be your own best advocate. I love that for you, Scorpio, because essentially this is the energy of being your best supporter, okay? I tell people all the time, the one thing we should not do is be our greatest enemy, but instead we should be our number one supporter. If you lived your life like being your world, like the world's number one fan of you, do you know how much you could accomplish? Like if you lived your life being your best fan, do you know how much you could accomplish? Do you know how much better you could feel about yourself? Do you know how much you could add to this world? I feel like a lot of the times, this world has kind of trained us to be our biggest enemy. We constantly look at our flaws. We constantly bash ourselves. We are constantly insecure. We put ourselves down. A lot of people experience these energies, and I feel that if we were to shift into being our number one fan, our number one supporter, we would really see a huge difference in how we can feel about ourselves, what we can do with ourselves, and what we can bring to the world. So be your own best advocate here coming into June 2022. Don't be afraid to be your number one supporter. I think that you're going to see really great benefits from doing that, okay? Moving on into the next message for you, Scorpio. What do we have? All right, what's going to be the next message for Scorpio? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus throughout the month of June here. And we have here, it may be ambitious, but you will find value in it. Oh, yeah. So this could kind of like be the energy, Scorpio, of there's something you want to do. Maybe you don't have a lot of faith in being able to do it. Maybe you have a bit of fear. Maybe you have a bit of doubts. And even though something may be quite ambitious, it doesn't mean that it's too far off for you to attain it or too far off for you to achieve it, A lot of people think that there are things that they can't achieve or that they can't accomplish, and that's so far from the truth. We all have the ability here to kind of create and manifest and do whatever we'd like to do, even if we think it's impossible. And remember, the whole word impossible literally spells out I'm possible, so there are infinite possibilities within this universe. So I feel that by being your number one supporter this month and really going for something, no matter how ambitious it may seem, you're going to find value in what it is you're doing, and you're going to find success in what it is you're doing as well here, Scorpio. I think that you have the ability to do so much more than you give yourself credit for, and this month is going to be the time for you to start giving yourself some damn credit, Scorpio, okay? Give credit where credit's due. A lot of people may not be doing what you're ambitiously doing. A lot of people may not have the guts to be doing what it is you're doing, and just for the fact that you're doing it shows that you got some balls, okay? So use those cojones this month, all right, and put them to work, baby. You guys got this, all right? So Scorpio, whatever's going on here in June 2022, my best advice, be your number one supporter, all right, and continue to do whatever may be ambitious in your life, because you're going to find a heck of a lot of value in it, and I think you're going to see a lot of growth and a lot of success. Remember, you don't give yourself all the credit, but give yourself credit where credit's due, because there is so much more that you've been doing than what you've been giving yourself credit for, okay? I tongue twisted the shit out of what I meant to say there, Scorpio. Essentially, Scorpio, okay? You guys deserve a lot more credit for all the stuff that you do, and most importantly, you deserve that credit from yourself. Hype yourself up. Be proud of yourself, pat yourself on the back, love yourself, be your number one supporter, and you're going to see a heck of a lot of success here in this month. Whatever you're doing, I believe in you, dude. I just want to see you believe in you too. All right, Scorpio, let's keep it popping, pushing, and moving forward. All right, we finished up our Scorpio, moving on to the Saggy. Let's see what we got going on, baby. What messages do we have here for Sagittarius? Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus throughout June 2022. Taking a look at the first message, we do have here, follow through on your obligations, okay? Could not say that word for a second, but anyways, follow through here on your obligations. Kind of feels to me like coming into the month of June, you might be feeling pretty worn down a little bit, and sometimes it can be very difficult to do what you're obligated to do when it's so challenging to do it because you don't feel like you have enough energy to do it, right? So this is about following through with your obligations, but most importantly, we should be looking at the reasoning behind it of why it's been so hard to not follow through with those obligations. So I'll definitely say coming into the month of June here, if you're having a difficulty staying on task, staying on par, following through with what you normally have to do, there's an underlying reason for that. And that reason could be a multitude of things. It could be your mental health, it could be your energy level, it could be how you've been feeling recently, if there's anything that's been going on with you. And I would really do your best here to kind of analyze what is that underlying condition, because as soon as you figure out what that underlying condition is, you can get to the bottom of that, and then you can therefore get back on top of what you're obligated to do, what you got to take care of, what you need to be on par doing, okay? So Sagittarius, I'll definitely say don't be afraid to get deep with yourself this month, to ask yourself those kinds of questions, to take time out of your day to say, hey, I got to check in with me real quick and see how I'm doing and see what's affecting me. Why am I having any sort of difficulties? Why am I having trouble? Why have I been so tired? Why have I been unhappy? Ask yourself all these questions. Really check in with you here in the month of June. You know, keep in mind, of course, Mercury is going direct, but then we have Saturn going retrograde, which can also be quite a difficult time for a lot of people to undergo. So I will say for you that throughout this month, do not be afraid to check in with yourself, as it's going to be incredibly beneficial to you to figure out why you're not performing as you normally do, why it could be incredibly hard following through with obligations, why you might not be feeling like you have a lot of energy. You know, check in with what's going on with you. When you get to the bottom of that and you resolve that conflict or that issue, then you can get back to feeling like you're on par again, okay? Moving on here to the next message for Sagittarius. Let's go ahead and see what is going to be another message here for Sagittarius. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus throughout June. And we have here, this is a good time to make a new plan. For sure. I think that this is about coming up with a schedule that's going to be working to your favor. Now, what I mean by a schedule could be regularly checking in with yourself and asking yourself how your day's been going. Has anything been bothering you? Has anything been affecting you? When we check in with ourselves in our mental health, and we do it, if not on a daily basis, at least on a weekly basis, it can have such a wonderful impact on our lives. Something that I like to do personally is when I'm feeling like I'm not up to par, when I'm feeling like I have a lot going on, I like to make a list of what I'm feeling, what I'm dealing with, what's affecting me. I like to go ahead and get a list going. So if you get a pen and paper or pencil paper, whatever you have, and you kind of write out how you've been feeling recently. For example, if you've been feeling very sluggish, if you've been feeling very tired, write down what you're feeling. I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling sluggish, and write down why. Have you been going to bed on time? Have you been getting enough hours of sleep? Have you been giving your mind space to rest? That is one thing that's super important that I think a lot of people don't realize, is that sure, you can have physical rest, but if the mind is not rested, completely different story. Have you been on your phone all day, absorbing so much content? Have you been on Twitter all day? Have you been on YouTube all day? Have you given your brain a chance to just focus on literally nothing so that it could relax? Because in this day of age, we have everything to stimulate our brains at the touch of our fingertips. We have our cell phones, right? We have our computers. We have our video games and different types of technology. So because we're so stimulated 24/7, it's a great and easy way to burn out your brain incredibly quick. So Sagittarius, I will say for you, do your best here to kind of make a plan to check in with yourself, whether that's a day-by-day basis, whether that is a weekly basis. Do whatever you can to just check in with how you're feeling and what is causing those feelings. As I mentioned, coming up with a new plan could be about coming up with a list, right? You can use a list in a way to help you kind of navigate through your emotions and navigate through your experiences. Maybe you can set aside time to talk to a friend every now and then, or set aside time to just kind of have a day where you don't really do much of anything and you can catch up with your rest in general. So I would say for you guys coming into the month of June, if you're having a difficult time kind of keeping it up to par, keeping up with your obligations, if you're just feeling like you're off your game, make sure you take a step back and check in with yourself as much as you can, and come up with new types of plans and methods on how to do that and how to get to the bottom of why you're feeling the way you feel. Come up with healthy ways, essentially, to keep yourself on par here. All right, Sagittarius, cool. I like that message for you. All right, we finished up our Sagittarius. Now moving on forward to our Capricorn. Let's go ahead and take ourselves a look. What do we got going on here for Team Cappy? Sun, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus throughout June 2022. The first message we have is going to be speak up about it. So Capricorn, get that throat chakra popping, get that throat chakra expanding. It is time here to speak your truth this month. So if something's been bothering you, if something's been eating at you, if something's kind of just been on your mind 24/7, this is definitely the time to speak up about it. It's definitely the time to talk about it. Don't be hesitant. Don't be afraid. Speak your truth and speak what needs to be said, especially if something's kind of gnawing at you, eating at you. It's a good time here to kind of speak up, all right? Moving on to the next message for you. What is going to be the next message here for Capricorns moving throughout June 2022? Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Let's have a look. We also have here, this is a good time to make a new plan. So Capricorns, I do feel like what you've been hesitant to speak up about is probably in correlation to making a new plan. It's probably in correlation to doing something completely new. And keep in mind, when we do new things, sometimes we have to leave some things behind. And maybe that's why you've been hesitant to speak up. You know, maybe this is the energy of like, I've kind of been hesitant to put in my 2 weeks at my job because I have a lot of respect for my boss. I love my fellow coworkers, but I have a better job offer, right? So it is time here to speak up and say, hey, I respect the fuck out of you guys. I love you guys, but I found something better for myself and I'm going to go ahead and move forward to that. I mean, some of you guys could be feeling this way in a relationship. Maybe for a while, you've been feeling that it's time for you guys to start a new plan. Maybe that new plan is to be single. That new plan is to really focus on your career or to move somewhere new. And because you're in a current partnership that you're not very happy with, it might have been difficult for you to speak up about that, but it's like it's time for you to do that, right? This new plan that you have in mind results in you being single and doing what you got to do. And the only way to execute that is to be open and honest with your partner. You know, that could be something that some of you guys will be experiencing as well coming into this time frame for June. So whatever new type of thing you have in your life, I know that it's going to have to result in you speaking up about this new thing and potentially having to walk away from something that you're currently already invested in. And I know that it can be a very tough and very difficult decision, but if you want to be able to make this new plan a reality, you have to be willing to take all the steps that are required, even if that means walking away. So definitely don't be afraid here to speak up about what it is you want to do, because the longer you hold yourself back, the worse you're going to feel. And I think that that's the most important thing to note, okay? So Capricorns, coming into the month of June, speak up about what you want, speak up about what you're feeling, and if there is a new plan in mind that you have, even if it unfortunately results in letting other people down, the more you kind of hold out on what you want to do for yourself, the worse you're going to tend to feel. So don't be afraid here to speak your truth and to take action to do what it is you want to do. Even if at the end of the day, other people might not be happy about it, your happiness has to be that first priority, okay? All right, Capricorn, let's keep it popping, pushing, and moving forward. So we finished up our Capricorns. We're going to go ahead and move now to our Aquarius and see what we got going on, okay? What do we got going on here for Aqua? Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus throughout June 2022. Aquarius, we have here, you could find yourself unable to compromise. So there's a situation here in the month of June that you may feel like you're unable to compromise with. This could be something that stands against your beliefs. This could be something that stands against what you want and what you value. And at the end of the day, if there's something here that you genuinely do not believe you can compromise for, then maybe it just really shows that you're on a different vibrational resonance, whereas the person you're dealing with is on a different one as well. So Aquarius, let's say right now we're talking about love and romance. Maybe your partner's asking for you to compromise in something in the relationship, and you just feel like you can't compromise that. Maybe your partner here is saying, I don't want you working as much as you work, and you're the type of person that loves your job, and you don't want to put that on the back burner for the relationship. You know, you might be in a position to where you have to say, I cannot compromise this. My job is something very important to me, and that is what I want to keep involved in my life. If that is the case for you, Aquarius, then it might come to a point where it's like time to reconsider. If I can't compromise and if they can't compromise with me, then whatever I prioritize, I need to be willing to put first. And if a relationship here is not going to be my number one priority, then I have to be willing to say, hey, this is how I feel, because we cannot compromise. What do we do about the situation? Do we go our separate ways? Do we find other ways to make it work? But if there is literally no compromise, what can we do and how do we go forward about this? So Aquarius, this month, there's something here that it feels like you're not going to be able to compromise on, something here that you're not going to be able to agree on. It could go against what it is you want, against what it is you believe. And whether we're talking about compromises within romantic relationships, it could be within family, it could be within friendships, it could be within your career. There's something here you're not willing to compromise for. And that's okay. You know, sometimes you have to look at what's the most important thing for you and what's the best thing for you. And if it doesn't align with you of what others want, then you may have to go your separate way, you know? Moving on to the next message here for you, Aquarius. What's going to be the next message for Aqua? Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus throughout June 2022. Let's go ahead and have ourselves a look. And we have here, make a list of why not. Okay, so this actually makes a lot of sense here too, Aquarius, in correlation to you not being able to compromise about something. So your guides here are saying, make a list of why you cannot compromise. For example, if you are not willing to quit your job for a lover, if you're not willing to do something in your work because a boss has asked you to do it, maybe there's something that goes against your beliefs, right? It's probably a good idea to make a list of why you wouldn't compromise in a situation. It probably would be a good idea too, though, of why you would compromise, you know, because even if you're not able to compromise about something, there's probably a reason behind it that you should, but I would definitely say first, make a list of why you won't compromise, figure out what your reasoning is behind it, because essentially that's going to make you figure out where your priorities are at. And ultimately, it's going to give you all the answers you need on whether or not a situation even is worth compromising for, and if that situation is what you want to go forward with in your life. So Aquarius, if you feel like you just cannot compromise on something here in June 2022, make a list of the reasonings behind why you can't. That'll get you a better understanding of what really is the priority in your life, how you want to go about things going forward, and what your future is going to look like. So Aquarius, I would definitely say do that. I think that that would benefit you guys the most. And as I've mentioned, you know, sometimes it's okay not to compromise on things because you are allowed to have a different view, you're allowed to have different feelings, you're allowed to see things in the way that you see them and prioritize things the way you want to prioritize them. Just make sure that you're doing what you want that's going to make you happy at the end of all this, you know? All right, Aqua, let's keep it popping, pushing, and moving forward. So we finished up the Aquarian, moving on to the last zodiac sign here for the Book of Answers check-in. Let's go ahead and begin with the Pisces, all right? What information do we got coming up here for Pisces? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus throughout June 2022. Pisces, it will affect how others see you. So there's a situation here showing up where it may affect how other people see you, view you, and what their perspective is of you. And I think that the message I'm more so being called to ask you is that, would that matter to you or not? Because in this world, it can suck when other people look at us in a different perspective or when they look at us in a way that we may not particularly enjoy, but it's basically all going to come down to, are you worried that other people are going to see you in a way that you don't like, or do you not care at all? Because me personally as an individual, if somebody looks at me different, if somebody looks at me in a different light now, it kind of just is what it is. You know, I know myself, I value myself, I know my worth, I know what I'm doing, and I do what I believe in. And if other people look at that and it changes the way they see me, that's okay. Like, I don't need people to see me as I see myself. But remember that everybody's different. So this is kind of like a message of, are you willing to have your, what's the thing that I'm looking for here? It's a word, like your reputation, right? Are you willing to have your reputation change based upon something that you're doing? And if it's an absolute yes, go for it. I mean, I'm the person who advocates live your best life despite what other people think. But if you genuinely feel that it's not worth risking your reputation here, then you may have something to think about coming into June 2022. But if you want my answer is a reputation is just a reputation. You know who you truly are, and that's the most important thing in this world, okay? Moving on to the next message for Piscean. What do we have? What is going to be the next message here for Pisces? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus throughout June. And we have here, trust your original thought. Yeah, so this is not a time, Pisces, to second guess yourself. Trust what you originally felt was right and what your first thought was that came to mind, okay? So let's say what's going on over here is that you're changing your career field, and it may affect how other people view you. Maybe you're going from a career that people felt was practical and good, and then you're jumping into a career that is completely a bit of a risk, right? Other people may look at you differently now, like, dang, Pisces is a real risk taker. I mean, they're not thinking logically, whatever. Meanwhile, the way you might be seeing yourself is sure, I might be taking a risk, but I'm taking a risk for my happiness, and this risk could provide a really abundant financial situation for me. So the way that you think about something is always going to be incredibly different to how other people think about it. And if you let other people's thoughts get in front of what you think and what you believe, you're letting other people run the show of your own own life. So trusting your original thought here is the universe's way of saying, trust your gut and trust your intuition. What you feel is right at this time is what you need to do. It's not about what other people want for you to do. It's not about what other people think or how other people view you. It's about what you believe is right. And if you had that original thought of, I want to do this, then do it. Don't let other people stand in the way, okay? Doesn't matter if their, view of you changes. It is what it is. As long as you have the right perspective of you and you love yourself and you're doing what you believe in and you know you're doing what's right for you, it don't matter what anybody else thinks, baby. Point blank, period. So Pisces, coming into your June 2022, you're being called here to trust your intuition and to make sure that you remember you are the star of your show. You are the star of your life. It's not other people's business to run it. It's your business to run, okay? All right, Piscean, let's keep it popping, pushing, and moving forward. Now, guys, thank you so much for coming out to the Book of Answers check-in for June 2022. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If it resonates, let me know down in the comments down below. Appreciate you guys so much. If any of you guys are new here, definitely consider subscribing and joining the channel. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to never miss when I upload or when I go live. I really appreciate you guys, commenting. I'm glad that you guys enjoy the Book of Answers series. I did like making this, and I do like making this a monthly basis thing, so I'm going to keep on doing this on a monthly basis. If you do very much so enjoy it, please let me know by leaving a like and by commenting down below. I would appreciate it so much, everybody, okay? But all right, guys, have a great rest of your June 2022. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Much love to my soul family, and have yourselves a good one. Peace.